I've kind of copied you on some of the ideas that come back and forth in comments on there, so I'm sure you're just speaking of that kind of comment talk about it, so it's like people go in and test that kind of stuff. Suggestions.
Just waiting for people. Emma, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Who is that?
Emma.
Oh.
No, it's just
It's
us.
just you two?
The sun started going up. Well, it's the last one before the election, so technically it's the last one if you're not
Right.
back. It is technically the last one.
I'll message Johanna on Facebook.
And the crazy thing is that most people we've had it for a long time.
Yeah, she's getting that average lately. Us for meetings.
There's some new faces.
They all came last week. Jennifer has been.
Hi, Vanessa, how are you?
Sorry, I was on mute. I was trying to say hi.
Okay, folks, we're waiting here. We do not have a quorum right now. We just have myself and Will, so we're all on standby.
Johanna, Bert, and Barb. I don't know how to get a hold of Ryan and Isaac.
Well, I thought he was already gone. Did he already move? He had a for sale sign. Looked like he was.
I know he is, but I didn't know he was.
I think it's a very difficult day to gather quorum. ARC meeting had that trouble this morning.
RC too?
Yeah, we had to call Daniel. He was very busy, but he had to come because we just had like 3 of us waiting for the food one.
So if we don't have quorum, we're just gonna,
We can't have a meeting.
oh, I know that. Just push till after our annual.
We can post we can post this agenda and then just roll right into it after the annual.
It'll just be a lot of, it'll be a long meeting.
I'm not bringing my sleeping bag.
Well, I mean, we don't have to have it directly after the annual, but maybe we'll make it up. I don't know. See how it goes.
Yeah, after starting on the 20th of
Yep.
February.
Yep.
That's on 13 days.
The only thing that is pressing on here is the insurance.
By what date?
Your insurance renews in March.
You know, my motion on that is, I'd love to get more quotes, but I think you already did, didn't you?
Your agent does that. He goes out.
Yeah,
and
I
he gets
forgot
all
it's
the
Florida.
quotes
He goes
from
out
them.
and gets it.
So he pulls the best, and it's actually a lot less than what we budgeted. Remember, he said 20%.
See, I thought I saw more, but
No, he had said be prepared for 20% because of the condominium collapse in Miami. He didn't know how the insurance was
you're
going
right,
to
it's under budget.
affect, so it's way under budget. You just can't lapse, right? So, and we can't do a vote on email. So I mean, if you wanted to just do a quick Zoom meeting during the day
Yeah,
for that
I'll
purpose
put
only,
that out.
and then we push the rest of it until March meeting, that's totally fine.
I'm off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week if you.
we have Johanna.
You got Johanna now?
Yep, Isaac, I believe, as well, just joined.
Is that Johanna?
Yeah, she's,
Oh, okay.
perfect.
And Isaac's on?
I see Isaac as well.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
All right, good.
Just in time.
All right, folks, we're ready to get this meeting started. February 17th, 6:03 p.m. The board does have a quorum here. We have myself, Will, and then Johannan and Isaac are on Zoom. Approval of prior minutes. Did everyone get a chance to look that over? Anyone have any questions or changes needing to be done to that? Okay.
I'll second the motion if we need to second it. Not sure if we do that.
Officer reports. Do we have anything? I do. I have a small note here. I don't recall if I had mentioned it at the last meeting, but we are currently kind of working with the CDD on picking up costs for irrigation. They approached us about a month back because we have wells that are split between us, Encore, and CDD property. So they are looking to not pay for the whole maintenance for the year 2022 moving forward, which is understandable. Bellinger is able to have broken that down to percentages of what we should be paying per well, which is great. We've also been in agreement to bill us separately from what I understand, which is also great. But I am still looking for a breakdown of actual cost comparison so I can get it for Heather and we can get it over to the financial committee, because I don't know what that cost actually looks like right now. They've thrown a lot of numbers at us, but until there's a number, we're not going to agree to anything on taking on any payments. But just, you know, that is in the works. It was a motion for this meeting, but we really don't have any more information than that right now. That is all I have. Community manager reports.
Okay, so reminder everybody, the CDD board meeting is Thursday, March 3rd at 10 a.m. in the Lake House. The annual election is next Thursday at 6. Your agreement with the new attorney was sent over to him on the 2nd of February, and I'm working with both him and your past attorney as far as getting files over to them. Once we get the final bills from the past attorney, then he'll release everything to your new attorney. Financials were provided today to the board and the committee and posted on Town Square with my summaries. 4 files were sent over to the attorney. I cannot see. I do apologize if I'm making faces. 4 files were sent to the attorney today for non-payment from their notice of late assessments in January. Your January delinquency did go up from December. That is to be expected. It's the first month. We're charging the annual fees and the monthly fees. So it did go up from $17,000 in December to just over $36,000 in January. But that's as of the end of January's financials. So in February, it's gone down a bit. I do periodically review the delinquency and prepaid for settled accounts, which are sold accounts, sold units, to verify whether balances or credits are valid. So I make sure that we have a clean financial. The audit with the CPA is going through just smoothly, more smooth than we were last year. And I did provide them with a lot of information to be able to complete, so we're just working through those. The maintenance position, I did send the ad to, worked with Associate to get the ad posted. We did receive 2 resumes last week, and this week we received, I think, 5. I still need to review them. I sent them over to Tommy to review. We have 1 interview on Monday, and then I'll work through the other ones we received to try to window them down to see who's promising to interview. Late night activity at the lake house. So since the holidays, we've noticed when we come in on Mondays, and it's not every weekend, that people are partaking in drinking parties around the lake house. Front in the parking lot, in the back, because they're leaving a lot of alcohol bottles and cans everywhere. And I don't mean a few, I mean a ton. So what I did was I worked with the sheriff's office, and I have asked the deputies that are on duty during the day and at night to do their reports here at the lake house, whether they sit on the porch or they're out there in the parking lot. I've issued out 10 access cards to those deputies Deputy Sherman came and picked them up on Tuesday, and he will give them out to those deputies that are on duty at those times, so they have access to bathrooms, because the deputies are always looking for a safe place to do their reports, that have facilities. So this is the prime area for that, plus we're gonna get free coverage. We'll see if that'll calm things down. One of the other things that we had happen, and did you see the email, Tommy, about the game room?
I did, yeah.
Somebody came in the weekends, nighttime hours, poked a hole through one of the doors, unlocked the door, and went in. Now, there's no pool sticks, there's no equipment out there, but they were in there nonetheless. I know we have cameras out there, we try to leave the lights on, so I'd like to try to review that footage to see if we know who they are that are doing that. But I'm hoping with the deputies coming, it's gonna calm that down. Reserve study, again, we're supposed to get that at the end of February. I'm gonna skip over some things because they're on the agenda. Fitness Center, FitRev performed a quarterly inspection on the 11th on all the equipment. They did find some repairs needed to be made to the treadmills. Some of the parts have come in, and there's a delay about a week or two for the remaining of the parts to get those things done, but everything's working fine. Cliff Mud inspection of the north side of Lake, and I might not say it right, Hutto? Is that how you say it? We share the Swift Mud permitting with the CDD. The northern section is the HOA, southern section is the CDD. The northern section, I did have the engineer go out, inspect, they did their report, they'll be submitting that to Swift Mud, and we'll also get that report. We did get that report, which is going to be part of my manager's report that I emailed to the board. Work orders, I have several work orders that are open. I've gone over with Bob. Bob's last day is tomorrow. He has completed the majority. There are some that I'm going to take over because I need to get some pricing. They're bigger projects. And those are all going to be listed in my manager's report, all the open work orders. I'll have that report attached to it. Tomorrow, I am meeting with a pressure washing contractor at the pool because we need to have the building pressure washed. We need to have the areas around the pool pressure washed, retaining walls and such. I am going to have the life preservers replaced because they're quite old. And there's a number of work orders for that area, but I'm going to meet them to get a price for that. I'm also going to get a price for the townhomes because one of the things per their documents is that the HOA is responsible for pressure washing of the driveways, the walkways of the townhomes. So I want to get a price from them as I'm collecting from other contractors. Irrigation Controller K, we talked about this at the end of last year. This is in Sagewood where the well went down. We had to have the well repaired along with the module for the irrigation, which Down to Earth did. That module has gone down, and I had Sunrise take a look at that late last week. There's something out in the field with a decoder that might be sending a surge to the module and shortening it and burning it out. So we have to get the module replaced first, so we have electricity, so they can then search for the decoder that is bad that needs to be replaced. Luckily, that module is under warranty. I was going to work with the old contractor and the new contractor on that. However, the new Sunrise can go ahead and replace that module through the warranty, and then we just have them on site the same day because they don't want it replaced, and then we have a surge, and then we're back to square one again. So that's in the works. The Sagewood oak trees that were voted on at the January meeting is scheduled to be trimmed on February 22nd, barring any weather issues. I did send out a notice on Facebook and Town Square about the plants that were affected by the freeze. Don't trim them. Wait until we get out of this freeze, maybe until March, then go ahead and get them trimmed because you don't want to kill your plants. Common area palm tree maintenance. Typically, we'll want to trim them before we go into hurricane season. I was over at the dog park one evening about 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to a homeowner who says that the fruit falls a lot. The dogs eat the fruit, and some of them get sick. We can't avoid that at all times, but one of the things I'm gonna work with Sunrise on is when they trim before hurricane season, by August, the fruit will come, and they will make sure that they remove that. And they'll be a little bit more mindful of picking up the fruit when they're in there maintaining in a dog park. The dead tree in Westlake was removed on January 28th. At the dog park, pot was installed and the holes were filled. That's what I was over inspecting a couple weeks ago. And that was done as nice as it can, being that we don't have any irrigation over there. But the people that I talked to were happy with that. In regards to the CDD, I've informed CDD of a couple different things. There was a water leak, a resident reported near 5930 Watercolor Drive. Complaints regarding common area trash not picked up along Circa Fish Hawk, the Village Center, Watercolor, and Hometown. Even part of that email with the CDD was brought to the attention by a homeowner who's always very communicative with me when she's out walking and sees things. And these are two areas that all of a sudden have not been taken care of. We don't know why, but according to the map, it is CDD property. They take care of the landscaping along Mosaic, which is the same color that Circa is on the map. Why the CDD is not taking care of it, I don't know. I don't know if maybe the apartment complex thought it was theirs, and now they stopped, but I did give her the
Who
manager.
has been taking care of it? Do we know?
According to what was reported in the email, all of a sudden it's not being taken care of, trash is overflowing. At the end of the day, the CDD should know their property and know where to take care of the trash, so.
But also, the apartment complex just got bought out, so.
Okay,
Could have been
so
something.
I did provide.
But it wasn't Bob. Bob was not maintaining these.
No, I have no time. And to give you a little history, when I first started here, Ben was the maintenance man, and he was taking care of CDD and HOA trash cans and dog stations. And he was told verbally that that was an agreement. No agreement was ever made. So basically, he was doing CDD work and not getting paid for it. So we put an end to that. CDD got their own contractor to take care of their trash and their dog stations. However, they didn't have anybody to walk their property to show their contractor their property and what they were responsible for. So they asked us a favor, and Ben went there and walked what he knew.
Right.
He didn't know everything, but we really can't put the responsibility on an HOA employee for CDD responsibility. So we're back to that now, where they've got 2 trash cans they need to take care of. And the response was to bring it up at a CDD meeting.
Well, it sounds like Debbie's putting it on the routine schedule to
Correct.
be removed, so the problem's gonna be fixed, but
Which is good,
as far
yeah.
as ultimately figuring out a solution, if the CDD isn't owning up to the actual property and the maintenance of it, we have to take it to the next CDD meeting.
Correct, yeah, so I hope they do bring it up, because I won't be able to attend that one.
I will do.
Mosaic Drive Road Divider, I had mentioned that it was reported to me, lights are dim due to overgrown landscape, palm tree overgrowth covering lamp posts, trees need to be trimmed and limbed up. Debbie with the CDD told me that this was completed on February 11th. I do have somebody that is gonna go by there at night, just to double check that the lighting is good. The retention pond in Sagewood, now there's 2, so I'll clarify, not the one on the outside that's fenced in, but the one that's internal. The property lines show that the CDD's property goes up to the sidewalk, but they were not maintaining up to the sidewalk. So I've clarified all of this with Sunrise, your contractor, that they only maintain to the sidewalk, and CDD maintains, which is Brightview, maintains up to the sidewalk. So I did send an email to management of CDD and told them to go back and mow that area that they missed. And I'll continue to monitor that.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Did they do that yet or no?
Yes.
They did.
No new information on the lake, but if you go out there now, it's really receded. It looks really good, so. And that ends, on what you talked about, Tommy, with Ballinger. and the bills. I spoke with Mark Ballinger's son today. He called me, and he does the accounting. So I explained to him the email that I had sent back to Debbie at CDD to get those 50 invoices clarified as to what bills were actually the 3 wells that we shared with them. And he asked me to send that to him so he could see, and he would get his team to try to figure out. I also sent him the map and the spreadsheet that I created that showed those wells and the percentages and the areas, so he could work with his team to compare the two and possibly give us the information.
Is he gonna try to break down everyone's?
Is he what?
Is he gonna try to break down all 3 by percentage?
They're already broken down.
Well, but the cost-wise, so Encore, us, and CDD.
They did send something, but honestly,
Because if he's breaking down those 50, he should be able to break down those 50 to 3.
I was only concerned with the 3
I agree.
that you guys shared with. I mean,
No,
Encore is the one.
I agree, but it would make sense to look at all 50 bills as a whole and then be able to see them broken.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not going to be able to personally do that, he's gonna have to go back to the team.
Yeah.
And say, okay, what was
This
this
is
bill
what we
for,
need.
what was this bill? Because there is absolutely no correlation to what well they were working on, anything. So I don't know how they're gonna be able to, that's the first step. And he also mentioned that there's some bills, and that's what started the conversation. And I said, bills for what? So we haven't come to an agreement yet. So,
Ours.
yeah.
They're not ours. That's for sure.
So that ends my report.
Perfect. Thank you. Committee reports.
Hey,
The election committee, still monitoring the elections. We have at the moment 338 electronic votes and 143 as of Jennifer's last report of the paper votes, which puts us just under 39%, which is awesome, but we're trying to hit 50, so I'll keep pushing.
Oh. Awesome.
so did he say that was 39%?
39. Which is great.
Yeah, well, it's good enough to pass muster, so.
Joanne, do you have anything for us?
We were trying, the social committee was actually interested in doing something for spring break. It was contacting some food trucks and looking into some possibilities. Right now, it looks like it's not really available during the time we were hoping for. So it looks like I'm probably gonna push it out to more like our Easter event. As far as planning, it kind of makes sense because then we can, we definitely can secure the, the necessary things and have more time to plan out for that period. I think we might do a Friday event next month. I'm gonna have to post it, but aside from that, that's pretty much what we have on the horizon. We're still planning out, we kind of planned out some of the different activities, but we're mostly focused on the stuff that's coming up. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. Okay, on to new business. Action items, board terms based on number of votes. I have a motion being made to discuss the terms of office for our annual meeting.
Second.
So this is probably just more so clarification than anything. I want to get a full understanding of how we are deciding terms. What are our terms going to be for our annual election? I'd also like to hear a little bit on, not necessarily play-by-play, but what are we expecting for the night? I don't want to walk into this kind of blindly and jumbled around. So I guess it's more just informative between the two of you. What do we know and what are we doing?
Okay. Typically, when we open up, we have 5:30, people can sign in. The difference being is that a lot of people have done the electronic voting, so you're gonna have a lot of that. Not a lot of people are gonna come in. If they do, we'll have a table up front. We'll have the proxies, we'll have the ballot, we'll have envelopes, we'll have things like that, if anybody needs that. I just don't think that's gonna really happen, honestly, because a lot of people have really, yeah, so, and then what we'll do is, we will have ahead of time, and we've already tallied this. Jennifer has really done a great job. She's taken the votes from the proxy, and she has already counted how many votes for each, nay and yays, so that we're not doing this at the last minute. What's good about having the electronic voting is that you're not going to have this lag where most boards who don't have electronic voting, right, to count the votes and whatnot, because we're going to have all of that ahead of time. And then we're only going to be adding what may come through the door.
So our intention as the election committee was going, is that taking what Jennifer did and just validating it, either cross-checking or making sure that there isn't a mistake real quickly. But of course, electronic voting is almost the heavy lifting. And if there's any ones, we'll add them to it. I mean, that's basically if we find that something's questionable, the committee will discuss whether it's valid or invalid and make a decision.
We do, just to let you know, we do have a stat of invalids. We have been emailing those people saying why they're invalid to come in. Some have come in to take care of that and some haven't, but they will be kept and marked as to why they're
Great.
invalid.
So Jennifer has done a great job of that. Asked her to kind of do that and we talked to her. So the other thing that we were planning on doing at that point was, obviously besides doing the announcement, but we're trying to nail down, I actually having a meeting on Sunday, which I haven't met on the time, I'm telling you it's going to be tomorrow. To try to go over some of the things we're talking about, like term of office. Currently, everyone serves a 2-year term. The problem is if at the rate we're putting 7 people in, all those people will be up for election again in 2 years, which makes a kind of a non-overlapping election. So yeah, do we do the ones that have the least votes to be elected next year? Do we actually, the typical way that I've done this in the past, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's usually a 3-year term, and a third of the members are re-elected each year by quantity of votes, or if their term expires, or the term that they replaced. So like if they came in and you guys appointed someone to the treasurer that had a 3-year term, they would assume that term until they were re-elected. So that's the typical way of doing that, and we're going to try to come up with some recommendations that can be adopted from that point.
Okay.
On the first board meeting, of course, you have to open with your election of officers.
Right.
Joanna?
Well, I heard all that, but is that, are we clarifying on, like, it's gonna be a 2-year term, or?
Right now, it's a 2-year term. That would
And
be
you
something that is
want to
different.
have staggered terms.
Right.
So you typically want to have 3 and 4 staggered.
So that what we would do right now, we'd stagger 3 and 4. If we decide to change something down the road, the new board would make that decision. It's not for this meeting, it's a suggestion that
Okay,
that we
so
give before the
for
next-
our election, our annual meeting, it will be a 2-year staggered 3 and 4.
Yes, because that's what our bylaws say.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
But we don't have anything that states whether we're going to stagger it. That's something you can decide to choose at that meeting, the first board meeting, or before.
We need to do it, I agree, that's,
Since we will have a number of votes, it seems logical to do it shortly after the officers' election and so forth.
okay, so officers election, annual meeting, and we could vote to stagger that.
Well, you do the annual meeting and then you do the officers right afterwards.
And you can choose to do the officers' election immediately following the closing of the members' meeting.
Yes.
Right there.
That's typically what happens. You'll end your annual election, you'll end your membership meeting, and then the board will then meet to decide who's going to be officer or director.
They'll do that all through
That'll be
standard
just
board meeting.
between you guys.
Pretty
Do we
much.
need I'm sorry. Do we need to put anything in to announce that beforehand, or can we just go ahead and do that?
Well, you don't know who's going to be on the board yet, so
Oh,
We would ask for nominees at that point for each position, whoever wants to put their hat in the ring, and you guys would vote amongst yourselves.
yeah.
Typical agenda, will we have an agenda to post like this? Like
The
that?
agenda was posted when the mailing went out.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll just look at that one.
Relatively straightforward.
Okay. That's great. I think that's all I really had on that motion. It's just, we just had some clarification there, nothing to really vote on. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Then I'm gonna move on. We have Westlake's north side fence. Again, I'm making a motion to discuss the fence located at the back of Westlake and its maintenance options.
I'll second that.
Johanna, thank you. So we talked about this last month, about the wooden fence in the back of Westlake. Sean, I think you were gonna try to go out on the pavement, see what you could grab from
I did,
residents.
I put a letter out, to all homeowners, and asked them to submit a folder that I put together on the website, Facebook page.
Mhm.
17 participated. The three options that we put in front of them was, find a better quality material that can take as much upkeep, repair what we already have, replace it with a privacy hedge. Did a little research. The municipal code 6.606 requires a 75% opaque barrier between any commercial government property, i.e. the school. So we have to have something 75% opaque. The first option in that is, of course, putting up a privacy hedge. The second option is put up wood and put some other plants in front of it. And then there's also a 20-foot barrier that has to have trees. We've met all those requirements except for if we took down the fence, we'd have to replace some hedging. So I put that option out there. So the option to just repair the fence as is was 11 to 6, and no one voted for replacing it with a better material. So at this point, that was what came back. I didn't get enough feedback other than that. My personal recommendation is not to do that because I can see financially the ongoing cost of repairing the fence every 2 years, but that's what the members voted for.
I have something to add to that. So 2 years ago, when our house started to be built, the bushes along that strip were fantastic. They were intact. It's right in front of my door, and the portion of where the bushes are dead, some of them are maybe underneath the oak tree, so it kind of has a combination. But I have never once seen, there's an irrigation system that runs up along there, and I think it's defect, but it's not working, that the bushes are, not maintaining and they're slowly dying off because that dirt is completely dry. We actually, at the end of it, adjacent, a little bit lower, is, I guess, the CED water pump. I'm not sure, I always see trucks in there filling up their water, the little water areas. So I'm not sure if, somebody can come out there and look, before.
Well, Tommy and I had already walked that, and I also talked to Bill the Sunrise. My plan is, and I've already made notes for the 2023 budget, because I wanted to find out what we were doing with the fence first. But we're talking about replacing those. We're doing some sort of different type of landscape. We can't salvage those. If we're gonna plant some, we've got to take those out and put new ones in.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like I said.
Because they're just so overgrown.
It is so, when it's stormy and weathering, there's a lot of wind that comes through that area as well.
Yeah, it hasn't been really addressed, so
Yeah.
that is
So-
on my list to get prices from.
And so I post the videos on our Facebook so people can have an idea of what it looks like. The fence more towards the exit of the road from the school is more crooked, just because there's so much wind that comes through there during storm time that, it would need to get straightened out. Nobody can see it because our bushes that are already there are nice and established.
Yeah,
They actually, you cannot see the fence.
but in the
That's
common
why.
area. it's
Yeah,
really
so
bad.
the other thing I wanted to point out, we have to be careful because there could be 2 or 3 turtle nesting spots in there. So, just gotta be super careful with trying to go in there and start digging and everything.
I was gonna ask for the status on that, because I know you mentioned that before.
Yeah, when I walked it, I noticed there was, some whole.
There was.
two
Did you?
hole-
I didn't see anyone.
I mean, I'm not
I
a
didn't
professional,
look
but.
that, I didn't look that closely. I was looking at the fence more
Yeah,
than
we've
anything else.
had, like, the other day, we've already had turtles.
So just to make a comment though, I mean, I know that the plants are gonna have to be replaced. That was the whole comment I was trying to make in this particular argument on Facebook, is that the plants have to be replaced anyway. And the logical choice is something that's xeriscaped, that requires very little water and is hardy, and the best choice of that is hot carpets most likely, but that's a very hardy, very thick plant. We start planting that in there and and fixing the fence on top, we're double duty the expense, and that's exactly what I was trying to portray, but I failed miserably.
Well, one of the things you could do in that area is either do Fakahatchee or muley. And muley would be the best because in certain times of the year, it gets this colorful pink fuzzy plants, but it fills in. So they're kind of, I kind of call them like upside down cousin
But
it's.
how high does it get though?
They can get
Has to
They
be
can
six.
get
Well, the
pretty
bushes,
big,
I think-
but they're used in a lot of Florida friendly.
In all honesty,
landscaping.
the best bushes you could get, evidence is all through the neighborhood, you could get 5 to 6 foot vibraniums.
Vibranium's fine, they're nice thick leaf plants.
But those are gonna require a lot of water.
Yeah,
But
that area,
even the frost doesn't even harm.
that area though, it sits kind of on a hill, and I'm telling you, that pole is like it's like a wind tunnel when it's storming and stuff. So it has to, the bushes that are in there currently, if irrigation gets checked and it starts to get water, I think it'll look a lot healthier to where you will not have to.
Well, the problem is, according to Bill, when he and I walked it, was that the existing ones, if you trim them back, they're not gonna do very well.
Exactly.
So you could leave those and plant smaller ones, but then you're gonna have unevenness. Yes, I agree that that plant is good too, but what we used to do in erosion areas of DRAs is that we would put either the Fakahatchee or the muley in the eroded areas, because they filled in and they would keep the ground really well. It didn't require a whole lot of watering at all to establish, which was nice. They transplant very easily, so.
I think that the topic at hand though is what to do.
What to do.
Opposed to exactly what to do, because at this point, planting is inevitable, it's gonna happen.
Mhm.
We just have to decide what plant life we decide to put there. The one thing I am concerned about, the comments that Jennifer made, was that someone's taking water from our pump, was that what I heard?
I don't know, what is that little station there?
That's our pump.
Is
That's
that
the pump, that's the irrigation pump, that's HOA.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, I don't know. Landscaper or.
Joanne, speak up, yes.
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Are we talking about the fence? I'm making a decision of what we're doing about the fence or the landscaping now, because I thought the motion was for the fence, and if we're talking about
fence.
landscaping.
The problem is, Joanne, and if you look at that, it's both. It's not one or the other, it really is both.
But we have to make a decision on the fence before we plant stuff. Wouldn't that make sense?
Yes, I mean, we're gonna be planting stuff regardless, but I think the real question is here, we should probably get a quote,
Quote for the fence.
a quote for the fence, repairing the fence, getting it in tip-top looking shape, and then let's get 2 or 3 landscaping quotes with options for the sunrise, see how much is it gonna cost for vibranium, how's it gonna cost for podocarpus, what if we do option 3? And then we'll have a better decision.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
ultimately,
I think that's what we should do, get the quotes and then proceed with this conversation, because without numbers in front of us, it's kind of like we're, you know.
It's because the first thought, the honest first thought was, let's tear this fence down, but when you physically go look at
Okay.
it, it's a bad idea without a plan, because it looks really bad.
well, it's
behind
not
the
only a
fence.
bad idea, it's an illegal idea. The county.
Okay.
There's no opaque separation between them.
Yeah, it's just,
You can have the wire fence has to stay back there, but it has to be 75% opacity in order to meet the commercial guidelines. So that guideline says, yes, you can put a hedge up, but it has to be 75% opacity at 6 feet.
So let's get quotes on that. We'll table this till next month. And
now, is it
Did
necessary?
somebody second that motion? I've written it.
I'll second the motion to table if that's what we need a second.
Rip up all the bushes, for example, you went out there and walked it the other day, but underneath the trees, of course, I wouldn't put anything under there, you know, it would look nice. There is a more of a empty bare spot where it's like a retainer drain area between, right before this property starts, when you come this way, I don't know, that little corner of, so up on that little hill, that's for a lot of those bushes.
we'd have to walk it again with the landscaping contractor.
There's not in front of your house, that whole.
But just to tell you, based on what I saw when I was out there.
Yeah, I mean.
Yes, we need to replant pretty much everything along there, because what we have will not be anywhere near 75% blocking once that fence.
Well, even upstairs, even in spring, it won't be. It's
It
all
won't
plants.
be, right, but it'll be much better than what we have in there now.
Yes.
Okay,
Is there a second?
Well, let me
All in
just-
favor?
Motion to include just a huge quote, right?
all in favor to get quotes on this? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I have one.
Where, Jennifer, we gotta stay on that. We got resident comments at the end.
Mulch installation, making motion to discuss the 2022 mulch project.
Second it.
Thank you. Okay, I hope everyone had a chance to look over this. We have 3 quotes here for mulching, both on the master villa and Sagewood. We have Sagewood wildly under budget. The master is about 1,000 over budget, and the villas is 3,600 over budget. Heather, is there any other detail you can provide to this? I saw them, I read through them, they're just more.
Yeah, so we budgeted based on the current prices at that time when we were doing the budget, which was anywhere from $45 to $48 a square yard, however they measure it, cubic yard.
Mhm.
And as we know, milk is $5 a gallon now.
Right.
Or 4, somewhere thereabouts. So when I got these quotes, that's the current price. Now, I did go out to some other landscapers that I know in the business that I've worked with for 10 plus years, and their quotes were $60 to $70 a cubic yard. So 55 is a really good price, considering. Now, the other thing is down to earth, did your mulch in Sagewood?
Mhm.
So I really can't compare because we know that a lot of information from them was a little wonky, right? So with some of the things they did, Sunrise did the villas and the HOA. So their cubic yards aren't that far off.
I think here's my better, what I'm really looking at here. I don't think I'm balking so much at the price. I wish I knew what's the percentage increase from last year to this year on that.
But it's not consistent if you're seeing one's up and one's down.
Well,
But the one that's off is Sagewood, and down to earth it's Sagewood last time.
when I was
So I
looking at
can't
the,
really put a lot of trust in their numbers.
and when I was looking at the budget, Sagewood has a very high budget because the trees are included in the mulch project under one
Yeah.
line. So take that into consideration, plus we're spending another $4,000 on Sagewood this year, as is on the finished tree removal from last year.
Which was included, but yeah,
It was included, so
correct.
we're probably eat more at that throughout the year. But, you know, when the financial committee's looking at the budget and doing the budget, they're putting in, what, a 5% increase on stuff?
Something like that.
Right.
Depending on what we thought might be interesting.
So it'd just be fair to look at this and say, okay, if this went up over 5%,
According to her numbers, it was 48 last year, and we're getting 55 now, that's really 8%.
8%, which is why we.
Which is pretty typical right now, you know? I thought that was a huge increase, but when I compared it to 2 other contractors that I've worked with,
Mhm.
and $60 to $70 a cubic yard was what I was getting. So, and yeah, you really can't say the Sagewood is under budget because that includes other items.
I know,
in
I
that
just did the
budget.
line item in the math, that was.
Correct, yeah, that's the trees and other items that are non-contractual.
Okay, Joanne and Isaac, anything? I mean, we need mulch.
The problem is, do we have a contingency in the budget for from someplace else? We're gonna have to. so-
We're gonna have to.
So what it reduces at that point is important.
The master's only over budget by 1,000 from this, and then the villas is over budget by 3,300. Now, what could make up, and I'm assuming, is the sod replacement project for the villas. Now, come April or May, I will be walking the villas with Sunrise and taking assessments as far as areas that absolutely have to have sod replaced. And then we'll have a total square footage of sod replacements, and that might come under what we budgeted. So that might be the difference there, but again, guessing, don't know.
Yeah, but we do have some contingency, it's not a lot, there's a contingency line in the budget. that can pull some of that, but here's the thing, is when, whatever we do, whatever order we do it in, do the mulch first, you spend the money, and then go to the side. The ceiling out of the side budget fails, I mean, matches, and that, you can't put any more sides down, it's just how it is.
Right. Or you just
Yeah.
pick ones where, and I'm throwing out a number here, you pick yards where they need more than 100 square foot, or more than 200 square foot replacement, and then you just kind of try to work with Sunrise to fertilize those areas a little bit more and see about bringing them up. We can make that boundary, that number for those.
You gotta hit the targets, that's all.
I agree. Now, this is opinion. My opinion is the mulch is probably a little bit more important than a sod, especially at this point in time. I'm walking around out there, the mulch just plays a much bigger impact, so if we end up having to cut back on sod replacement, that's probably a better move.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
In regards to the project, why is there no bid for Westlake? As this would be the second straight year in a row that.
We have it in our budget, I was gonna bring that up,
Right, so, you mean for mulch?
Yeah.
So, in the budget, we don't do homes for Westlake. These are for the homes in the common area.
The common area or the islands.
I understand getting to that. So in my budget presentation, which we kept in there, there is money to redo the islands as far as Florida-friendly irrigation, Florida-friendly landscaping for those islands. However, that's not what's on the agenda. The agenda for this is mulch for the homes in the common areas of the villas, Sagewood, and the common areas of the HOA. That would be something different.
I think the question is,
Why is it included?
Because the contractor is used to doing this every year at this time for what he's contracted, what is in the contract with villas, Sagewood, HOA.
But last year,
We didn't do any mulch last year.
So where are we?
Because you guys weren't
So where
budgeted for
are
it. Because you guys weren't budgeted for it.
Where are we on your schedule?
Okay, I'm not used to board meetings running this way. I've got 3 people yelling at me from the floor. So if one person can address, I would appreciate it, so I can address the questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Sean.
no problem. We did have budget last year for it that we didn't get, it wasn't a budget, but it wasn't a whole lot, it was I think $2,000 from us, we increased it by our estimates that we talked about earlier to try to compensate for it. I think that the comment is that, we've got a new contractor this year, why isn't it put in the schedule with everyone else's? Mulch should be done before spring.
Correct.
So maybe saying this in your motion is to include maybe getting quotes for.
Well, that's already on my plate.
Okay.
For the next 30 days or 60 days for those islands. I knew it was something that we budgeted for.
Yeah.
However, we had this come up quicker than what I had planned because they submitted it. This is the time that they submit their quotes to their clients for anything that's contracted.
So I'm completely fine with all that.
Yeah.
It's just a clarification for everyone to hear. I knew that you were working on that. They were asking why I wasn't included.
Yeah.
Something false.
It's not, I understand your confusion on that, but it's a separate project. What that's going to entail is a little bit more design detail. So this is just a simple of laying mulch where mulch already exists. Those islands, it's more of a design idea. And I have to sit down with the contractor to find out what is going to work in those areas that are shaded, that it's going to look good. And that's not something that I can just do quickly. So it is on my list for the budget. So it's not going to be ignored, let's put it that way.
My only comment is, if that's the case and it's coming soon, we should probably hold off and try to do this all together. We don't want mismatched aging mulch throughout the community. So if this is gonna get
It's
laid
not going to
down,
make a difference.
it does though, and it
Yeah,
does
as
on
far as
replacement
price
cycle
goes.
though.
Now that's going to take a lot longer then. So we're looking at least 60 days out.
Well, I mean, can we just do it 60-day out? Is that really?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Joanne, go ahead.
Well, I'm just asking the question, can we just push it to 60-day out? I mean, is that really going to cause much of an issue as far as what we're obligated to do, since we didn't even do it last year to do it all at the same time?
Should be done in the first.
I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be doing all the mulch when we're going into rainy season. That's why they kind of jumped on this. My intention was to get the Westlake on the agenda for no later than April, if not March, if I could get the prices and get a design going. Just because you approve doesn't mean they have to install at the same
Right.
time, I mean, earlier. We can approve this since it's already on the agenda, get this out of the way. We hold off on install, get the Westlake design done, get those prices, you approve that, and then we do install all at the same time.
I like that idea, and probably even better if we could try to squeeze Westlake in on March.
Squeeze what?
Westlake in on March.
Yeah, on the agenda.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Well, I guess the question now is there any objection to that plan?
Okay, all those in favor of approving the mulch project?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Insurance renewal. A motion is being made to discuss and approve the 2022 insurance quote.
Second.
I got a second from Will. If anyone had a chance to look at the quote is actually for $27,450 and it's $3,579 under budget. Anyone have any questions on that?
No, yay for under budget.
Nothing we did, but yeah. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Spending authority, making a motion to approve the spending limit amount from $2,500 down to $1,500 in the operating funds before needing a majority vote of the board at a duly called meeting.
Was there a reason they wanted to drop it?
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Yeah, apparently it just doesn't make sense.
It was a gap.
Yeah, there's a gap where we can't, no one's there to approve the 2,500, is that what it was?
Yeah, you and I had approval up to 1,500, and then anything 2,500 and above was board. There was nothing between 1,500 and 2,500. Who's gonna approve that? So it was just that.
So the idea is to drop it down to 1,500. Anything over 1,500 has to go to a board approval.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with that.
Okay, all those in favor of the change?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, motion carries. Okay, ARC rewrite and workshop dates. I'm making a motion to approve the workshop dates for the ARC rewrite, the mail outs, and to allow management to postpone violations at their discretion until the rewrite is complete.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, so a whole lot of things came up, but main thing to note here is we've talked about it 100 times over. We need to do our ARC rewrite. It just doesn't fit our community, it needs a lot of adjustments. So my proposal in here is April 5th, 6th, and 7th, 6 p.m. Lake House. If we don't need all 3 days, great. We'll put it down for 3 days anyhow and see how it goes. But I want to have the document ready for approval at the April 21st board. Now, I'm sorry? Good.
You mean April 28th meeting?
The 28th?
The board meeting's the last Thursday.
April 28th, I thought it was 21st. It might be aggressive, if it is. If it is, we'll push it. I think the workshops are more important than anything, but. Yeah, so this needs to be done, and the reason I say postpone certain things, I don't know if the ARC or anyone from the ARC is here to represent us, or represent the ARC at the moment. But we have certain things. Right now we have, 3 or 4 violations on trampolines and side yards. Right now we don't, technically don't allow anything in the side yards at all, which I think is a problem altogether, amongst the stones, amongst a bunch of other things that are coming around. So my idea is if something's coming up in the ARC that might be questionable, deny it, table it, it might be changing shape. And I say the same thing on violations. There's no sense in putting violations out there for compliance on issues that are probably gonna be ratified within the next 90 days.
Well, I think it's good that we should have the discussion and open it up and clarify on these rules so everyone can, hopefully because that we're focusing on the people that really are not taking care of the lawns, taking care of what they need to. And that's where we should be focusing our violations on. That's just my thought. So I think the workshops would be great. So I'm all in favor.
How about the dates? How are we looking at the dates? Fine? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Ask the question.
Joanne?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yes, sir.
I just had a question, clarification. What happens between now and April 5th?
Between now and April 5th? Well, again, it's a bit of a gray area, right? Our architectural guidelines are still intact. They still are what they are. So,
So I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about, will there be, will the work that's done on the 5th, 6th, and 7th,
mhm,
their goal is to start from scratch,
fair.
starting with what we have.
Right.
And then in 3 days, they're gonna come up with a new ARC.
So the way it works now is we're gonna send out a mail out, letting everyone know that the document will be rewritten at these workshops on the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and that the ultimate document will be voted in at our April 28th board meeting. So what happens is, everything kind of stays status quo for the most part. I'm just saying a preemptive of maybe not send out violations so hard on certain things because they might be changing anyways. Maybe not have the ARC deny or approve certain things when the AXC may be changing anyways. Now, in those dates between the 5th, 6th, and 7th, nothing happens until it's actually changed and voted in at April 28th. That's when the document becomes official.
Clarification.
No. Fitness center side room, making a motion to spend up to $500 furnishing and stocking the fitness center side room with, as a kids play area.
Second.
I got a second from Will. So we have a side room there at the fitness center that does nothing. It used to be a kids play center, and it should be. Heather did some research and found a bunch of nice kids' toys we could put in there and stock it back up. Should we do it? I put a max budget of 500. I think the items you found were under 500.
Yeah, there's things that I
Yeah.
sent you.
The only thing I want to do myself is that TV in there kind of scares me, so I'm going to go and re-bracket that thing on the wall. Other than that, what do you guys think?
I think it's a great project. I'm all in favor. I think we can get a lot of stuff within, I think, the budget to at least get it somewhat situated. I mean, it's kind of an empty room, so I think we should do something with it. So I'm in favor.
Heather,
Yes, sir.
budget for those items. I know it's not much.
That was my next question. Where do you want me to pull it from?
Where can we do it?
Now, you do have a slush area.
There's a contingency, there's no-
Yeah, there's I call it slush fund, but,
It's the same.
yeah. So it can be pulled from that, but I don't anticipate spending more than 500 because the quotes that I gave you were under
They were under
250.
$200. I just
Right.
figure approve it for a max dollar amount.
Oh,
Okay, well, it sounds fairly unanimous. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Okay, folks, that's all I had for new business. We'll open this up to members, audience, Zoom. Let me know if you're not unmuted. Please type in the chat. Anyone here?
I do, so, the HOA property between Lake Fish Hawk Drive and Nature Ridge, the island from the four homes. So, last year they took down an oak tree, they cut it down.
no, CDB.
I'm guessing HOA or somebody, they paid a lot of money for it.
You're talking about Stumpy. You're talking about Stumpy? You're talking about Stumpy.
They go up on the island, and they got cut.
Yes, there's a tree that got removed between our house and the neighbor's house, it was already dead. But I wanted, can you guys research to see if it was included in running down that stump? You could,
You're not going down the stump, you paid $5,000 to cut the tree down because it was diseased.
see, and I've heard different, I've heard
There's not
$8,000
that
from.
on the stump at the board meeting specifically said that. Jeff asked if the stuff was included when it's stayed there.
Is it in a nature area?
Yes.
So like the palm, the tree that pine tree that I just had removed?
No.
Because, no, I'm using this as an example, because it's sitting in a natural area, I don't pay extra, unless the board wants,
No,
to have a
it's
stump
not.
ground.
No, it's
It's
not.
actually a grassed area that's irrigated. It's not a full nature area like the section next to my house. It looks like it's, it's being mowed. But yeah, the stump is not at the ground, I mean, it's quite a ways up.
Okay, Jennifer, can you tell me exactly where this is so I can look it up?
What?
Can you tell me exactly where this tree stump is?
So you know the pathway to go,
Right
that
here.
pathway, that island, so you have
The
the
last-
pathway, you have the street, and then you have that little island portion. Right there.
So basically, we want to look for the dates when this was removed.
Yeah, it's just like.
Try
I
to
said,
confirm. Chances are, we're going to have a very difficult
Yeah, the thing is, there.
way to confirm this.
If it was during Rosetta's time,
It was.
I'm gonna have a real hard time finding.
But I guess the real
any
question
documentation.
is, you're trying to get it ground down.
Well, it's full of termites, which is normal, but I just had to invest in, for subterranean termites because they're bad in around our house and stuff, so. You know, I was just curious, and it's full of carpenter ants too.
Sure, well, I mean, I'm asking for the outcome, so you want it ground down. You're just questioning if it's whether it was something the HOA paid for, should pay for, or if it's something the home kind of falls on.
Correct. And it's like,
Yeah, we'll dig in, we'll see if there's any notes on it, if it was or wasn't. I highly unlikely, but.
I'll close my door for a
do
week.
you remember the company was?
Not the actual tree trimming company, they came in pretty quickly, I was surprised how fast they took that.
You know what, I can ask my neighbor, because they had to pay him some money because they damaged his fence and brand new planting of his flowers, so.
One of the ones selling the fence.
And it is on an HOA property.
Yeah.
Absolutely is.
Then Heather, let's have sunrise quoted,
Mhm,
or at least we know.
got it.
Just for clarification for us that maybe having a hard time hearing, is this like what I was hearing, some sort of problem with the stump or some landscaping issue?
There's apparently a stump in Westlake that was never ground down, and the question is, ultimately they want it ground down. The question is, did we already pay to get it ground down, and it never was? Probably not, so we're gonna look through back records to see if that actually took place, was it supposed to take place or not, and get a quote on what it is gonna get cost to ground down.
If you can find it.
It's not a, well, it is an eyesore, but it's not bothersome. It's just full of carpenter ants and termites and.
And just pesticides and
Sure.
basically letting that.
You know the date that was removed?
I don't. Anyone know when it was removed?
Approximately this time last year.
Yeah,
I was here.
I can find
It
out.
was right before you came on.
It was
board.
before you
So that was
came,
in-
I started like probably this
It was
week
the
last
other
year.
gentleman.
So it was Jim,
Jim,
Right
yeah.
before, so I think.
and he quit working mid-January, so.
So it happened during his,
Oh, okay, so then it would be in our accounting system, not Rosetta's, which is more promising. So that I can find something for that.
I could probably find the dates, I got the minutes, I look at what the minutes.
I'll just look in the financials from like November on, of 2020 on.
But in any event, removing the stump is not a question, it was nearly a grand oak, it was a big tree, and if you grind the stump, the pests are still gonna be there because the tree has got all kinds of little facets around the root zones. So I will, the grinding is more of an aesthetic thing, but the pesticide problems are something that we talk about, baby and K.
Okay.
All right, well, if the date's correct, then we should be able to track it down. We'll see what happens. I guess we'll hear from back, follow up with Heather.
I'll look into it.
Kathy?
so adding on to baby pesticides and all that, in the HOA general area in front of Jennifer's house, all that grass,
Next to the
that
school.
area, yeah, next to the school. We have all kinds of anthills and stuff like that. Is our landscaper supposed to be treating that? Because it is a mess.
They don't treat for ants.
I was gonna say, I
in the
remember asking
contract.
that same question, and you don't treat for that
They
sort
do
of thing.
not treat for ants, no.
Those are fire ants. They're,
Yeah,
yeah,
roots
they're
look
fire
great.
ants and when you're walking around and stuff. What do you call it?
Yeah, they don't, that's not in a landscaping contract.
Yeah, I remember asking that exact question too. Yeah, that was-
Multiple things in Antro over on the section of the house, there's lots of things, because you're walking around there,
Yeah.
and dump all those tablespoons, and they go away for a while.
They come back.
They do, but you know what's even safer, and not on wet ground and not when rain's coming, get some grits. I kid you not, get some grits, it has to be dry ground, and don't have the rain come, sprinkle those on your ant piles, grits, dry grits. I keep a can of it in my garage because it's safe, you put them on, and it has to be dry ground, because what happens is when the ants eat it, it explodes, kills them. So I
Or,
just pour them on my ant piles.
or you could be like me when I first moved down here and just put your flip-flops on.
Yeah.
You learn something real quick.
Yeah, they're cheaper and they work just as good.
Less painful.
Less painful.
Okay.
I have a second
Well, if I do see them get too big, I put some stuff on it. Last year it was really bad, taking over the sidewalk.
Just rake it out. Pisses them off. Takes them forever. to remove.
good.
Okay.
When we sent out the annual statements this year, we sent out the annual statements, I had a couple people on Facebook and I saw where they took a picture of the due date being the 31st, and I think you made a comment about that already, if I'm not mistaken. That, you know, it was a mistake and we're addressing that, but that, I know that the board had done a change in the collection policy, the 10-day late thing. I've had multiple people tell me that they missed the date, including myself, by the way. But that was not because I didn't know it, I just missed the date. So is that being addressed? And
This is
also,
what they address.
the fact that the statement said the 31st, and they honestly didn't know it was the 10th, which is not an excuse. I did know, I'm not asking for.
So, and there was a glitch in the system for some reason, that there were accounts that were charged late fees before the 31st. So I've reversed all the ones that I am aware of.
Okay.
If somebody has a late fee that was imposed prior to January 31st, have them let me know, and I'll go to their account and I'll reverse it like I reversed the others. However, if somebody had not paid by the 30th, on the 31st, they got a late fee, I wasn't gonna waive it.
Yeah, absolutely.
9 times out of 10, I do the first month. I don't really typically like to have late fees, I don't, but in January, because we're going into a new budget season, it's more money typically. But we didn't have the approval to waive late fees in the month of January, but we did do it for the 31st, because everybody's trying to get used to the schedule,
Understood.
right?
So I'll post something of that nature if they didn't see what you said, and I've had several people ask me, and it came up in mine, I'm like, yeah, they're right, because I didn't even look at my statement, I just realized I paid.
Yeah, I haven't been into it with the situation. I saw the emails go through, but.
Yeah,
All right,
so
that was for
just tell them to contact me, and then I'll look at their account individually, and
Unless it's something major when it comes to money, I leave that to management.
I gotta bring it up.
Okay, oh, I hear this.
Okay.
All right.
You guys have any update on the janitorial position?
maintenance.
Maintenance?
I'm sorry, yeah.
I stated in my manager's report when I was reading it, that we've received about 7 resumes. Nobody from the community has responded to my Facebook post, so, but,
Did we discuss whether there was a conflict of people living here in Florida?
no, because Bob is the one, Bob lives here.
All right, okay. I couldn't
Right,
remember
so,
whether there was a
and,
conflict
yeah,
or not. Okay.
So I reported that we received about 7 or 8 resumes. The 2 from last week, we have an interview with one of those this coming Monday. The other one has not responded to my emails or my call. So that goes to the side. I got to review the other 5 or 6 that came in to me yesterday, and I sent them to Tommy already to review. He's been busy, I've been busy, so we're gonna do that, and I'm very,
We got the one for Monday, I think.
talking to the guy from Monday, I'm very impressed already, just based on 3 questions he asked me that nobody asked. So he's on his game, so that's promising. But
It is not considered.
in the meantime, what we have normally is you have a janitorial service that comes once a week on Wednesdays and does deep clean, right? Pool, bathrooms, this area. And then maintenance did it on the off days. What I have is that service is gonna start on Monday, and they're gonna do Monday through Friday. They will do all the cleaning, and then they're gonna do the HOA's dog stations, which include Sagewood, and then the trash in the common areas for the HOA. They know what they're doing because they've done that when Bob had to go on medical leave for a short period of time. So I have them starting on Monday doing that. So that minimal stuff is covered. As far as the work orders go, he's completed a lot of the open ones, and then the remaining of the open ones are bigger projects that I'm working on.
Yeah, just to go a little bit more in that, and my hopes is, what I'm really looking for is someone that, you know, either has a really deep background or has a journeyman's license and has been doing all types of different maintenance and machine shop work for a living. They might come at a little bit of a higher price tag, but also not living in the neighborhood, preferably, someone that's going to work. You know, we pay out a little bit too much, in my opinion, or we just don't get things done that should be done on an electrical level, you know, on a gas or plumbing level or a construction level that should be handled by a really good maintenance tech around here, instead of quoting everything out for a project.
Right.
So that's our goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, folks, nobody has anything else? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.